Hello ladies and gentlemen, Ashley here, Make It With Ashley. So today we are putting together this cute Isabella layout. So I created a backdrop using the Ballerina Ink and Stencil pack number 1. This does retire in like 2 days. So you can see the different stencils that come in that pack. Really love it. Super easy to create multicolor or just multi-shades of ballerina. So I have a 3/4 inch frame. So I gutted my paper and then I actually used the center for my photo mats for the layouts. Up next, I measured 3.5 inches from the bottom, and then I am using a what is it? A 3/4 inch strip of ballerina. I have my shimmer trim there, and then we have a 2 3/4 of an inch of the olive branch. So when I know I'm not going to be, when I'm going to be covering up part of my paper with my photo mats, I don't always use up all my shimmer trim. I'll cut it into smaller sections, as you'll see there. Next, I will bring in my Picture My Life cards. They are multi-directional, as you saw, which is something I really like about them. Toss in my photo mats, and I do want to kind of figure out my placement of everything. I use the Isabella Scrapbooking stamp and thin cut and colored these flowers with the tri-blend markers. Gets these nice, vibrant flowers to bring in. And then I used a Picture My Life card and cut it apart. So what I did is I cut 1-inch strips lengthwise, and then I cut that down into 1.5 inch and dovetailed them. You end up getting 8 on one card, and then you'll see in a little bit I use the rest of it and dovetail it as part of my title in that lower left corner. So you can see I'm kind of pushing around these flowers, adjusting, seeing where I like them before I start to glue everything down. So those are those dovetails, Picture My Life card. And then that other little blue strip I glued down is from Picture My Life card also. That is a little 1/2 inch strip that I felt like kind of tied in nicely. Otherwise, it would have just ended up scrap. So sometimes those little pieces, you can tuck them in. They look like larger chunks, and then you're kind of connecting the colors. It's not just one random piece of blue sticking out. Okay. So you can see I'm kind of going over how I'm cutting my Picture My Life card, how I dovetailed, and I am going to use the title Getaway, and that came from the sticker packet. And I was worried about just doing Getaway. I knew I wanted it there, but it was too busy with that inked backdrop with that stencil. So I needed something solid so that way it would pop. That doesn't really pick up very great on the camera. It's this ballerina, and it says another fantastic in this pretty cursive. I realized I wanted it a little bit more offset, so I just trimmed that dovetail a little shorter. So there's my Picture My Life card, and then my ballerina that I put my title down on. All right, and that is the left side. And so for the right side, it is generally the same exact layout. All right, so we start with that stenciled backdrop. Again, that's a 3/4 inch gutted paper for my border, and that is mainly because my stencil does not go all the way to the edge, so you need some way to hide that. And then 3.5 inches from the bottom. This time I used shimmer trim all the way across. You can see I accidentally got it stuck to the paper a little bit, but not too noticeable. Layering my papers up, and then here is where I will photo mat and kind of figure out placement. So I have my Picture My Life card that I also matted. That way it gave it more of a uniform look. I played around with and without it, and it definitely needed it. And then you can see those are the Picture My Life card that I cut apart. And then that is just a 3x4 Picture My Life card. It is a different pattern, but it's the same color. So I thought that tied in nicely. And then you can see I'm kind of just bringing in those flowers to play around with a bit and see how do I like it. And I am just struggling a bit here. I originally had those down, and then when I brought it back, I just couldn't find a place that I really liked. So I start to kind of move it around. You'll see me actually move chunks out, bring extra flowers. So those are kind of one of the hard things. I struggled a bit with these because they were all the same size flower. Okay, you had some that were groupings of two and groupings of a single flower, but you didn't really have smaller and larger. Okay, so normally I like to do a larger flower and then some slightly smallers on my way out. And then I wanted to make sure I was kind of consistent with my colors to make sure that I am tying them all in together. Okay, that's another thing. So you see, I decide I like just the two flowers, but then I'm looking for colors, trying to see if I can tie in that purple that I have. I don't know if I'm really thrilled about that bottom left having 3 different colors. I liked the kind of that uniform. I noticed that I have a blue flower on the left page and I don't have any on the right. So I was trying to see if I liked any of those, swapping them in and out. And then eventually I just decided I have enough blue with those Picture My Life cards that I brought in that I'm just going to use the pink and purple flowers. Plus, on the photos themselves, there's not much blue unless you count the blue jeans, versus there are some pink and purple flowers on the dresses and shirts. So I felt like that kind of just, it worked out nicely. So just adding in my dovetails and then my little offset Picture My Life card. And so you can't even tell that it's not a full 4x6 by the time I'm done adding the flowers to it. And I like to work from kind of the outside in, or I guess under to the top. So I starting with those leaves, kind of gluing them down, then the flowers, and then that cluster that's on top goes last. It's easier than tucking them under because sometimes you run into tape. Go ahead and putting down my cluster, how I finally apparently decided I liked it with those lemons hanging down. I really liked the lemons. I thought they were just a cute addition to the flowers on this layout. So I dragged out some different gold embellishments, was thinking about what do I want to do, and I decided I kind of wanted to go simple. I just wanted to do some glitter gems. I felt like it had enough going on with this layout, so I just wanted to tie in that little bit of sparkle that I had with that shimmer trim across the page. So I'm using 2 different sizes of glitter gems and kind of grouping them mostly with a large and a small around my cluster of flowers. And so I love that they are on a clear plastic sheet. It makes it so easy to kind of place them before you actually do and see what sizing, how do I want them. But you can see I added all those in a group of 2 and I'm like, I'm done. And then I'm looking at it again and decided this getaway needs some sparkle. So I added some to the left side and then I also decided to add some to that bottom right. And I felt like that kind of just tied it in together. And that is my Isabella layout. Thanks for creating with me, you guys.